Listen, man, I told you it don't matter. Just don't cuss. Damn. What's up, everybody? I am Sean Carson, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Closing Sidework. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we go any further, y'all know the drill. If you have not already, please hit like and subscribe down below. And if you would be so kind, tell your friends to do the same damn thing. Today's episode, I want to talk about food allergies. I read a survey done by Northwestern University this year that said 10% of Americans have a food allergy, which roughly translates into 26 million of us. So if you have noticed the number of guests popping up in your restaurants and at your tables with a food allergy has been on the increase. So I thought I would offer some helpful hints to help that whole process be as smooth as possible, not just for them, but for you as well. Anybody that literally has a real food allergy, usually pretty upfront and will tell you before things get going. I know in some restaurants, they even incorporate that in the greet for us in the intro. Hey, before we go any further, anyone here have any allergies that I should be aware of? A lot of cases, that's not really the norm. If someone at your table has an allergy, it's very important that you pay attention and write it down and remember it when you're ringing it in. Pretty much every software, they have like separate buttons with the separate allergies. If they don't, if it's a very specific allergy, make sure you memo it in. When I have somebody at my table with an allergy, I like to inform the manager or whoever's working in expo, or even sometimes the chef himself. If that sounds like overkill, it might be, but at the same time, I have a bit of PTSD. The very first night I was ever on the floor, the last table I had was somebody with a food allergy, and my casualness almost got somebody uh, in dire straits. A lady came in and ordered a dish that traditionally comes with peanuts. And she said, I have a peanut allergy. I said, no big deal. She orders, I type in no peanuts. Food comes out without peanuts. I go on about the rest of my shift. The very last forkful of food, the lady finds half a peanut. Understandably, she freaks out. I get the manager involved. Manager winds up comping the meal. The lady apologized. She said, I know it's not your fault. There were no peanuts. She still tipped me $20. I wound up getting written up for that because I just wrote no peanuts. I didn't specify that it was an allergy. Those are things that you have to definitely communicate, because if somebody has a severe allergy, you don't want any cross contamination using the same utensils. And so just be careful when things like that happen. Also, as we all know, sometimes an allergy modification isn't as simple as just removing a topical ingredient. Sometimes at the base of a dish could be something in the sauce where they might be allergic to it. So they don't know, you don't know. If you were unsure with an allergy whether or not a dish has a particular ingredient that somebody might be allergic to, ask somebody. You will never look foolish for asking, whether it's a server or a manager or the chef. In the rare event that none of those people know, every major restaurant has an allergy matrix tailored to our more common allergies. So it'll print out every dish that doesn't have any of those ingredients that people might be allergic to. So again, communication is the key here, and then following through on those steps. When that dish is up, please be somewhere in the project of getting the food from the window to the table, whether you're present yourself or you're at the table as the food runner is coming out and you intercept it, especially if you have people at the same table ordering the same dish. It's very important that you make sure the one that's been modified goes to the person with the allergy. My last restaurant, the manager themselves would run out every plate that had an allergy, or the expo manager. So if you don't work somewhere where the managers are on top of that, you personally have to be doing that, because this is very important. You're playing with people's livelihood and people's personal health. I know that some of us can't relate personally. Like, I don't have a food allergy, but some of my friends and family members do. So that's something that I personally take very serious. So it's just something that we need to get better at. And the last thing that any restaurant wants to be known for is that you killed somebody with negligence. Restaurants treat liabilities like leprosy, as they should, because once a story like that gets out, it's hard to overcome and come back from that. And one more thing before I get out of here that I want to touch on. Some people from different cultures have restrictions as far as religion on certain types of food that they can and they cannot have. If you were in that instance where a guest is saying that to you, I feel and I would advise you to treat that with the same caution that you treat somebody that has an actual allergy. Even if you don't understand it, if you're not part of that faith, you're not part of that culture, that has very little to do with what somebody is telling you. Same thing. Get a manager involved, get the chef involved. No cross contamination, costs you absolutely nothing. Any instance like that, once the food hits, ask a manager to stop by and do a table touch and visit. People like those kind of things. Like, they matter. Like, what they're saying is not like off the wall. In most cases, you can accommodate almost any allergy. Every restaurant, the majority of the food, everything is made to order. So with the exception of certain things where an ingredient is already in the dish that you can't remove, you can usually make that dish. And if you cannot, suggest something else on the menu that is kind of similar, maybe in the same ballpark, but won't send anybody to the hospital. So that is pretty much all I got today, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be back with another episode. Until then, my name is Sean Carson. This is the Closet Side Work, and as always, y'all are amazing. Thank you, and I will see you very soon. Bye, y'all.